This video segment finishes our examination of the sociology of climate change. It explores why Bloom, despite his doom and gloom, is optimistic about the future of the planet. The major points of this video segment are: number 1, the preponderance of scientific evidence now supports that Earth's climate is changing significantly as a result of greenhouse gas emissions from human activities. Number 2, the few remaining skeptics of global climate change have had many opportunities to expound their views, giving the public the false impression that there is very little agreement about global climate change. Number 3, the world's population should soon stabilize because of rapidly declining birth rate. Number 4, existing technologies can significantly diminish greenhouse gas emissions from human activities. Policies about global climate change may have enormous economic repercussions, not to mention affect the survival of the human species. With the stakes so high, the battle for the hearts and minds of the lay public becomes fierce. Religion may provide guidance in situations that extend outside our immediate sphere of influence, last longer than our lifetimes, or pertain to our stewardship of the earth. Indeed, the moral obligation that we feel to the world at large, to future generations, and to Mother Nature interweaves with our spiritual values. Therefore, opinions about climate change, a global multi-generation natural resource issue, often depends on religion. Religious tenets are open to many interpretations, and so are their applications to global climate change. Evangelical Protestants in the United States provide an example of the range of beliefs. As a whole, evangelicals are less likely to support measures for mitigating greenhouse gases than members of other religious denominations. But most Black evangelicals believe that global warming is extremely or very important, whereas most white evangelicals believe that it is only somewhat, little, or not important, and the general populace is somewhere in between. In 2006, 86 senior United States evangelical Protestant leaders endorsed a statement called the Evangelical Call to Action on Climate Change that declares the consequences of climate change will be significant and will hit the poor the hardest. Christian moral convictions demand response to the climate change problem. The need to act now is urgent. Governments, businesses, churches, and individuals all have a role to play in addressing climate change starting now. The basic task for all the world's inhabitants is to find ways now to begin to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions from burning of fossil fuels that are the primary cause of human-induced climate change. Soon afterwards, the Interfaith Stewardship Alliance, a coalition of more than 110 evangelical Protestants, issued a rebuttal that states, global warming will have moderate and mixed, not catastrophic consequences for humanity. Human emissions of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases are probably a minor and possibly an insignificant contributor to its causes. Government-mandated carbon dioxide emissions reduction not only would not significantly curtail global warming or reduce its harmful effects, but would cause greater harm than good to humanity, especially the poor. Therefore, we pledge to oppose quixotic attempts to reduce global warming. As of 2012, over 260 senior evangelical leaders have endorsed the Evangelical Call to Action on Climate Change. Notably, the dialogue has the endorsement of the National Association of Evangelicals, which represents 45,000 churches and 30 million churchgoers in the United States. The second group, now called the Cornwall Alliance for the Stewardship of Creation, claims endorsements from 1,500 members of the religious and scientific community. A diversity of opinions on climate change is not unique to U.S. evangelical Protestants. In the Catholic Church, Cardinal Pell of Sydney declares global warming has ceased and cites experts who believe futile attempts to prevent global climate change would be a tragic misallocation of resources. The Vatican, however, supports international efforts to address climate change, commending the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change for providing a global framework for concerted international action to mitigate climate change and to adapt to its impacts.